Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
Second
Great.
six. Second six.
Second
Second
six.
six.
Second six.
That's how the professionals say it.
That's how they really do it. That's the professional thing.
If you want to know the professional thing to do, is to say second sticks when the second person throws their sticks.
Midway
probably
through my
didn't-
pause, I realized that I was like, I know that this is gonna make it funnier if I don't say anything.
If you don't have,
If I don't have a thing, if I have
property,
nothing.
the word. I got nothing.
yeah.
I got nothing here.
Anyway, what were you gonna say?
I don't remember. It's take two.
Take two.
Because my plug and my mic came out, and I was testing my mic with literally the wrong.
It happens
setting.
to every guy. Every now and then, your mic plug falls out. It's just one of those things that happens with life.
It's a natural. It's normal. It's normal. Look,
Accept
how old are you,
it.
buddy? How old are you? 42? This
Your mic
happens.
plug's gonna fall out.
Your mic plug's gonna fall out sometimes. You can't give up. You can't feel bad. You know.
What do we do?
Go to the
We
gym.
plug
You
it back
work
in?
out. You eat better foods. Plug back in.
You plug back in and you go on. That's what we do.
That's it. That's
what we do.
Well, my mic plug is plugged.
It's plugged
In.
We're ready.
It's
to
ready.
rock.
I'm ready. I think we're ready.
I think we're ready. We're ready. Let's start. Let's get this party started.
Let's
Let's do this.
quickly. Let's get this party started, right?
We did
Let's get this party started quickly, right?
Right.
Backbeat.
Play that beat. Play that beat. Bang.
Bang.
We on our false start when we were trying to record a little bit ago,
Yes.
we were talking about ambiance, and I
Ambiance?
can't let go of that phrase,
Right.
Because it was so good. Noel said, "What did you say?" You said,
I said ambiance for the audience.
and I said, "That is so good." And I love it. It sounds French, and it's
French.
definitely going to go in the tags at the end. And we decided in our last false start that if we start to feel like in 2020 we already have too many tags, we'll start throwing out ones that we don't remember and aren't sure what they are, and just keep the good ones. But I would like to add ambiance for the audience.
Ambiance for the audience. For anyone who's a true fan of the show, and that's all of you.
That's all of you. Every last
that's,
one of you.
That's all of you. We know how you stick up for us and say nice things about us all. We really appreciate it. But for
We get
anyone who's
it.
a true fan of the show, I think that you know that we will have a new. Well, I mean, we'll have a new catchphrase most days.
Most days.
And we can't spend all day and all night the whole year doing every catchphrase. So we
Right.
just do the ones we like, and eventually you'll notice, for those of you who are new, but also are magnificent fans of the show. By the end of the year, we usually hit a groove as we know which ones we're going to do, and we forget
which
those
ones-
before
yeah.
we say them. But we know what they
Yes.
are, but we forget them.
It's just our thing, man.
It's our
what we do.
Yes.
So before we jump into this week's topic, how are
love
you
it.
doing?
I'm doing a lot better.
Good.
I'm doing a lot
happy to hear
better.
it.
I'm doing a lot better. I for those of you who have not been paying attention to my life, I had a
have.
cold of some kind for more than 2 weeks.
More than 2 weeks. It has been a long cold.
A long and annoying cold. It is not an undiagnosed. I stayed at home with a cold. That's what it was. So we're calling it the cold. So
The cold. The
yes,
long and
cold.
winding cold.
Every day is a winding cold.
Yeah.
So you'll notice I'm drinking my water. I was actually in our false start. I was talking
Yes.
about why I have the water, and I thought I'd share that for those of you who might be having a cold.
Please
right?
share.
That I found that my particular cold was more difficult in the evenings, and that daytime or nighttime, that if I had warm to fairly hot liquids, that it was incredibly relieving and helpful, particularly at nighttime when, just sometimes you do coughing fits or whatever, stuff that happens when you have a cold.
Sure. How did you prepare this temperature of water? What was
What
your
I
trick?
did is I boiled. I have a kettle because we being Australian in my home, we have tea. So we have a kettle. And if you don't have a kettle, you can get a kettle, because you don't want to boil water in a
Get a kettle.
pot. It's a nightmare.
Right.
Get a kettle, and then I boiled the kettle, and then I would put like a little less than half of like boiling water, and then the top half would be regular water, and that would be nice and really warm. Then I put it in like a temperature controlled thermos style cooler, and then
And there he is, drinking it.
Then
Making him
it's
feel
really
good.
yeah,
I love it.
it's
That's
really
good advice.
And
That's
soups,
good advice.
Go for soups. Go for soups, like man, chicken noodle soup is good. Vegetable beef soup, like good brothy,
good hearty
hot soups,
tasty
hearty soups.
warm soups.
Oof.
Yeah, I was never a soup guy, but this time period has really caused me to embrace it. I'm starting to really get it, because up until this point I was always like, it's not a meal, but now I get it. When you lay around,
it's just water, man.
It's just water, but when you lay around your home in your PJs all day, I got to tell you, soup is like the perfect thing to have.
It really is. Soup, hot cocoa, which I haven't had any sugar for a couple of weeks, which is driving me.
Really?
I love sugar. I've had natural sugars. I've had a lot of fruits, things like
stuff
that,
like that.
veggies.
But you'll be happy to return to the other kinds of sugars.
I'm going to destroy an entire gallon of ice cream. I'm not going to get a half gallon. I'm going to get a full.
Yeah.
One of those big ones that you get at Costco, those industrial size, like 4-gallon tub of ice cream is going to be inside of me.
I cannot wait for you to have that. You deserve it.
Great.
You deserve it, pal.
Thank you, pal. Yeah. No, I was thinking that maybe before we kick into the thing that we could do a little, maybe like good new, inspiring news, like maybe better, because people get down about coronavirus, right?
Yeah, you want to do a beacon of light in a gloomy environment. Beacon of light
in this gloomy environment, right?
Right.
Well, we're all struggling through this thing, right?
Okay. What do you got for me?
No, I just wanted to point out. I've been looking at numbers right now. There's a lot of minor like frustration and panic in the news because there was a spike of deaths, unfortunately, on Tuesday. And I love numbers, so I look at numbers. I don't really do the news anymore, just because I can't. You can't have a cold for 14 days
and then
find out about every single uniquely awful experience that somebody has had when dealing with whatever. Like, they have more serious COVID colds. Mine was just a cold.
Right.
Even so, you worry. Well, what do I have? Anyways, you can't. So I turn off I'm not Facebooking. My notifications for news are off. It's all gone. It's it. I just have a couple of sites that I check for numbers.
Numbers.com.
This is all based on numbers.
I have no idea if that's a real thing.
It has to be, right?
Numbers.com.
It teaches you how to count, how to breathe.
Yeah.
Do you know that you need numbers to breathe? I didn't.
Yeah,
it's because it's not true.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, numbers, good news. Yeah. So, first of all, I think that, before we get too nervous or panicky about the spike in numbers, there's something moderately unusual about them, just because every single state had a spike. So I don't know if we're going to find out in a couple of days that those, they weren't reporting enough before. Right. So there was like a poor, because it's we have a lot of scientists who listen to our show. I know, because they write in, they call in, and tell us, and
they go, I'm a scientist and I love your show.
Yeah, which is great. So they'll all tell you about, when you have an aberration statistically, when there's a very high or very low number that doesn't really match everything else, that you may discount it depending upon what data you get later. As you get more data,
sure.
So you collect all the data, you know that you keep it, and you get all the data, and you find out, is that part of something more serious, or is that an anomaly? Is it abnormal for some reason? Sure. Anyways, there in Korea, in France, in many places, there's been a spike like that, and you find out a few days later that it's because there was some way that they were counting that was incorrect, and they weren't actually getting accurate numbers the whole time. So either a lot of stuff gets piled into one day, or they start counting correctly, and therefore, because they started counting correctly, the accurate numbers start that day, and then it makes a big spike. So if the numbers kind of remain high, it's possible that they're at this new higher range just because they're doing a better job of counting, is what I'm saying. So you don't necessarily have to think, oh my God, there's a whole spike wrong. That's not necessarily the case. So I just wanted everybody a chance to calm down on that's potentially the case, because
breathe, everyone, breathe. It's gonna be all right.
Yeah, that we'll know more in the coming days, and we might even find out in a few days that yes, in fact, they were not reporting home deaths properly, or deaths in certain nursing homes. Or there's so many ways. This is all so new, and so we're really on the fly figuring out what's going on. So I just wanted to let everybody know, you don't have to freak out. Just keep calm, keep rocking, keep doing
what you're doing. Keep staying at home. Please keep at it. We got this.
Wash them hands, don't touch the face.
That's right.
And then the other thing I want to say is, this is really exciting, is that for a few days in a row now, the the numbers in the places that first saw this, this thing come in are lower than the peak day.
That's great.
That's a good sign. Like in terms of how many cases there are and hospital admissions and things like that. Those are like, no, they're still high, and they're still, it's not, we still got to keep at this and keep doing our part to help. But it does look like, on the coast anyway, California, like not totally coast, because still some places on the East Coast have not, they're coming a little bit later. But the good news is that's a sign that this is working. This curve flattening concept that they've come up with is, seems to be finally catching up and working. So we might actually get some good news, so that by the time we're talking next week, we might all be saying like, hey, isn't it great? We've flattened the curve in this many states, and some states won't. Great. I don't want to say they all will, because we've been on kind of a lag as different states have picked up what they're going to do. Sure. But it's just an encouraging sign to see that that's starting to happen, because that's kind of the beginning of the end of this.
That's
and the end
great.
of this could still take, a month
some time
or two before we're like actually out and about doing more.
Yeah.
And because of how we're doing this, because we're not going like, let's all just get the disease and have it over with, we're doing the flatten the curve system. You'll be hearing about coronavirus for another year or more as little things happen. I mean, you just will. But it'll be in hopefully if this works, if the theory of why they're doing this works, then it'll be in a manner that's controlled, and more people will live, because there'll be more hospital supplies and things to keep serious people who are seriously ill
great.
out of trouble.
That's
Anyways, I thought it's a numbers thing. It's kind of, it's good.
It's good.
Yes.
It's good.
Yes.
So that's good. Uplifting, focusing on the numbers, and that things are working out. That's great.
That's all I
appreciate
look at. Because you can take some of the news that happened here and be like really, really freak out about it. The other thing you got to know is that the numbers of deaths are going to fall down after the numbers of cases, because it takes days before you admit somebody before they unfortunately pass or hopefully recover. Yeah.
I love it.
All right, that's it. I guess it's almost a bummer run, but I was trying to be.
It was like a bummer uplifting run.
It's a bum lifting run.
It was a bum lifting run. It's like, here's the data. Signs are pointing to things are going to get better, but still a bummer to talk about.
Still a bummer to talk about. I still think that it's pretty awesome what they're doing in the like Jersey and New York that just got absolutely slammed, but they've done a really admirable job of keeping it under control. And then in California, I mean, I don't know. I read something that was so like I don't know. Maybe I'll get kicked in the face for even saying this, but I read something that said that it's this. What if California had this back in November and December?
Yeah, I've seen some things about that this has been something that's already come through our state. Yeah,
and that when they were reporting an early flu season, and that there was more deaths than normal in that, and that it was like that was all whatever
related
worse
to
back
this.
then. That actually, if you go back and take a look at it, it's perhaps we had our spike months ago and didn't even know it.
Would that be crazy? That would be fascinating.
Yeah, it would be, because it's crazy how low California and California's numbers in particular are. Yeah. It's wild.
It is.
All right. That's it. I'm sorry. Now, we don't want to talk about coronavirus all day. That's terrible. All everyone talks about is corona. Nobody cares about coronavirus anymore. People are over it.
Well, we're here to give them a little bit of information, but then move on to other subjects that they can learn and educate themselves on. And that's why today's subject, I think, is going to be a cool one. It's something that I stumbled upon by accident, and once I dug into it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's a whole thing that's been going on for a little while, and it's the concept of indoor farming. Are you aware of this?
Indoor farming?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great topic. Cool? I love it.
So it's I kind of came upon it by accident. I found this company called Freight Farms, and basically they started about a decade ago, and it's this company out of I think it's out of Boston, Freight Farms. And they started about a decade ago. What they would take is these used shipping containers.
Yeah, sure.
And you could buy one of these things, and it was basically, with the lighting and with the hydration, it was hydroponics. Which, I got to be honest, hydroponics is one of those words that I've seen for years and never bothered to learn what it was about. And I'm
Right.
sure Noel, our resident intelligent guy, you probably knew what hydroponics was.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Hydroponics are a big deal, particularly in a state like California, where the people love this kind of thing. They love to grow plants, and I won't explain why, but they like to grow plants inside their homes.
Right.
And that's so there was actually a hydroponic store right next to a place that I used to work when I was in my 20s. I was in I worked at a juice and Java place.
Yeah.
And right next door was I made friends with them, and this was like 20 years ago.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that old.
Oh my God, it's been so long.
But yeah, they're it's fascinating, man. It's fascinating what you can do with the right lighting systems indoor to keep, to grow stuff. And that's brilliant to put them in a container and have the whole thing as like a here is a setup. We've got it.
Yep.
We can move it on a truck, put it wherever you want it.
Yeah.
And there's your farm.
And it's moved into, and here I'm gonna do something fun for our audience that watches the show. Okay, so check this out. I've got a virtual background ready to go. Mm-hmm. This is right now Jacob is standing inside.
Jacob's reporting live from a hydroponic factory in Boston, right? Massachusetts.
This is exactly what the shipping container looks like in their original form, which is they had an old used shipping container, and basically they would sell these things, and it's incorporated this entire idea of vertical farming, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
you could have, whereas outdoor farming, which is still a great thing to have, you could have acres and acres and acres.
It's better.
But yes, it is better. It is a great thing.
I mean, it's not more efficient.
Right.
But you're getting better food. Yeah.
Agreed. And I've got some cool stuff that I'm going to get into. So outdoor farming, we all agree that the sun on our face and the sun on the plants and just the regular environment is going to be 10 times better. But this is a really cool concept that this company started, these freights, and they've grown so much, and now there's a lot of other competitors in the game, and a lot of people have really jumped into the fray, that they've moved even beyond this shipping container, and now they have one that is built custom that has these LED lights, and it can grow more yields, more types of crops. And the benefit of indoor farming like this that you see in this container is that you can grow certain kind of crops year round, because you're not limited by the seasons, by different various things that happen in the field. So that's one of the benefits. So a lot of restaurants and now we're moving into like universities, schools. Hey, he's had some greenery behind his head now. So a lot of these places have bought these containers, like universities, where they'll have fresh vegetables, fresh greens, and fresh produce that are made right there on site for the students, for the businesses, and a lot of restaurants. And here's the crazy thing. Since that time, Noel, when we were going to have food at Veggie Grill,
yes,
I remember one time I was looking at a veggie grill, and off the side there was like a shelf, like a standalone shelf, and they had like all sorts of plants and vegetables and stuff growing in it. And that's a company called Farm Shelf that basically took this idea of the shipping containers and brought it down to a movable.
Like, we'll put this in your place of business.
Exactly, we'll put it inside, and so that's really grown into a whole thing as well. And so what I had been studying with this indoor farming, which was a lot of them have these really overblown statements about how much crop you can yield and how much you can make and how comparative to an acre. And there was this one guy that I found online who broke down like the math. I'll have to send you the video because you're a numbers guy and you'll love it.
Okay.
But he was like, don't get me wrong, I love vertical growing and I love hydroponics and I love this whole thing. But he's like, there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, all you need is one of these and you've got 5 acres worth of, and he's like, that's not true. And he sat there and broke down like, here's an acre, here's how many square feet that is, 44,000 square feet. And then here's the, a square footage of one of these, which is 400 square feet. And he did all of the numbers, and he was like, so on a best case scenario of lettuce in an acre and lettuce being yielded from this in 1 year, he's like, we could, best case scenario, be like a quarter of that. And he's like, which is still amazing. But he's like, he really wanted to deter people who kind of promote indoor farming and these places as being this amazing opportunity to make so much money and sell so much produce, and don't mislead people, because people could sink their life savings into buying a container farm, a freight farm, and then get it, and it doesn't yield anywhere near what they kind of imagine in their minds. And I thought that was good advice. I thought this is a cool thing, but don't forget
if you're putting the bank on it, know the truth, know the facts.
Know the truth, know your research about the actual numbers of what you're going to get from the container, because it is a very cool technology, and I think it'll mean a lot for what people can do in the future and what they what they can make on their own. Yeah. But I still think that we need farms, we need the acreage, we need the land, and we don't want to get away from that. So that was what I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I think it just like anything. I feel like so much of technology is like it's being responsible with it.
Yeah,
you know,
it really is.
So like if you are responsible with I don't want to say any technology, because some are just baloney, but if you're responsible with most technologies, then they have a really great place. And I think this is a wonderful example of that, because if you are in the city and you're in that kind of environment and you want to have your own garden and you want to be able to grow some of your own vegetables and you want to be able to do that, it's really cool that people can in a fairly small space with vertical farming put something out in their home or out on the porch or what, like, to get some kind of growth happening. And to be able to do that, that's awesome. To be able to have a mobile growing center for some of these businesses that might want to have just direct access to quick vegetables, that's terrific, right?
Yeah.
But I think
agree.
that it's one of those things that if we were to say this is the way we're going to do it now, the danger is that people start to say, well, we don't need land for farming.
Yeah.
We don't need land for growth and for plant life. And the fact of the matter is that that's got most of the planet needs to not be inhabited by humans. Like it needs to be. Like we can't take it all.
we can't take all the resources, right?
We can't because we won't survive. If the planet won't survive, we won't survive. And we're already seeing signs of that. And that's one of the reasons we have this dadgum podcast, right?
Yeah.
The
dadgum biofriendly podcast.
I mean, like, true farming that happens responsibly, which, again, we can argue how often people are farming responsibly, but responsible farming that's happening through most of the acreage in the heartland of this country is really great. You are reducing. I mean, that growth is providing a ton of oxygen. It's removing a lot of carbon dioxide. It's also, if done properly, it's rotating that soil and it's keeping that soil active. And there's a lot of positives that come from doing that when you do it properly. And that if you were to put cities across all of that, or like solar farms or something, like solar farms, look, we're all about renewable energy here, right? But if you cover viable land with a gigantic solar farm, you will destroy everything underneath it.
Right.
Because of all the heat you're producing and the fact that no sunlight's actually hitting the ground anymore. So there's it's just we have to be responsible. To be responsible with what we're doing with our planet.
I agree.
That's all.
I agree.
But I think that that doesn't take away from the fact that I think this is really cool. I think this is awesome. The idea that you could have, you can have whatever, man. Even forget an acre. Like to have, a quarter of an acre in a container to grow stuff that you can move around and put anywhere.
Yeah.
That's rad. That's rad to me. I think that's a positive. I think overall that's something that could be useful.
I think so too. And I'm going to share a little bit about freight farms specifically because there's a lot of competitors, but they were the ones that I found in the article. So so they had their initial used container, and that started about $75,000 to buy that thing. And of course, there would be cost for the lights, the nutrients in the hydroponics and things like that. But overall, it was a good investment if you were yielding taking good care and doing the work. It is still farming. A lot of these sites would say, hey, don't think that you just get to go click a button and all of a sudden you open into a back of a thing. But they, since then, because there were more competitors with the shipping containers coming out, here, I'm going to change my background. Ready?
Where are you now, Jacob?
So this is this is the next gen product that just a few years ago that Freight Farms released called the Greenery, and this was instead of taking.
And this is in Massachusetts.
Yeah, they're in Boston, and they
So you're
ship
still
them all,
reporting live from.
I'm still
from
reporting
Boston.
live in Boston,
You just
Massachusetts.
moved from one location to another.
I did. I just jumped to the container right next to the other one.
Great.
So instead of using recycled shipping containers, the units are built from the ground up for Freight Farms with all new components. Growing racks can now be configured to accommodate bigger plants, such as tomato. What?
Jacob,
What?
my butt's asleep.
What?
My
What?
butt's asleep.
You're about to sleep?
My butt is asleep.
Oh, your butt's asleep. Move your butt.
This
Move
new
your butt.
this new system of podcasting from home and trying to have I've got to. People can't see it, but in order for me to hide here. I'm so sorry to cut you off, but this is an emergency. I can't feel my butt.
As you move, I'm going to say what I thought was so funny about what was happening there. As I was reading, and I just started reading, so I wasn't looking at Noel. I was looking at the screen, and I started reading, and all I heard was him very softly saying something, because like I'm not hearing from your mic, I'm hearing from just the Zoom.
Right.
And I thought you were saying, "I'm about to sleep. I'm about to sleep," and I thought that you were so bored. You were so bored with the opening sentence that you were warning me that you were about to sleep, and I was like, "No, I just started reading."
You don't want to talk about this topic. This is crap. This is just.
I was like, I just started reading. I was almost done.
You're on a roll. No, I'm sorry. My butt is feeling better now. For those of you at home,
it's okay.
I to hide from. Everybody can relate to this.
Yes,
to hide from my
can.
children who are using the house and doing their stuff and making the noises that they have to make. And my wife, I'm in my bedroom. I hide in my bedroom. I close the door, but I can't get the computer high enough unless I put a hamper, which is upside down, in front of my legs to keep the computer high enough that you can see my face.
Funny.
And then they stand. It's like a really complicated and uncomfortable setup that I do for you, the people of the world, and my legs are just the position they're in. I sat here and I realized I can't feel my butt, and it's so uncomfortable. And I didn't know what to do.
You know what? That was the time to make me think that I thought you were bored with me reading. So it was perfect. It was perfect. So he's doing better now, but we're going to get this down to a science, man. We're going to find a chair. We're going to find a chair. We're going to find a floor chair for you, so that you don't have to get sleep butt.
Something that's butt-economic.
Yeah, butt-economic. So
or is it Bert-economic?
Bert-economic. Tushonomics. I have no idea.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, as you were saying so interestingly on that fascinating topic.
So this new thing that I'm in Boston.
Yes.
The growing racks can now be configured to accommodate bigger plants, such as tomatoes. Lighting has improved. It's energy-efficient LED arrays with 3 times the power of the old ones result in heavier plants and greater yields, according to the company. So water and energy usage are more efficient in this new design, and 70% more growing space. So they made.
And are those also? Can those be put in containers, or are those?
This is in a custom. It's called the Greenery.
So you're in another container right now.
I'm in another container.
You're live from a container. It just looks high tech. Looks like it's sci-fi.
Exactly. It looks like it's sci-fi, and this has really made it to where if you wanted to do more premium type of vegetables and gardening, and you want better lighting control, better water and nutrient control. So this is just kicking it up a notch. They basically knew, this company specifically knew.
How much does it cost?
It costs $100,000. So
okay, so for $25,000 more,
$25 more grand,
you get sci-fi looks.
You get sci-fi looks.
Polished steel. You get better light. You get better. You can make tomatoes.
Yeah. So, but now everybody who listens to our show is going to be sitting here and they're going like, I'm not gonna buy a container from a. Where am I gonna put that? I don't have room in my place.
That's what they're gonna say.
In my yard, they're gonna
say this is supposed to give me ideas of how to be green, and you're not helping.
Right. And I'm gonna go check this out because Jakey's about to blow your mind. And I'm gonna leave my on this site. I'm gonna get rid of my background here so we can just talk to each other like human beings. I'm gonna come right back to. Oops! I accidentally chose Ferris Bueller's bedroom. Sorry about that. I have all these ridiculous backgrounds that I've been playing with.
I just watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, it's such a good one.
My kids last weekend.
Such a classic. Such a classic.
My God.
It's a great one.
Oh my God.
The recent
That's the best movie.
I just the other day, a tangent. but worth it.
Worth it.
There's a new Muppet Babies on Disney Plus.
What?
And I was watching an episode with my youngest, and it's like computer graphics Muppet Babies. They changed the theme song, so I was a little upset about that. It's still got the same
Muppet Babies.
It's got the same lyrics, but they go in kind of a different way. But I was kind of like, hey man, you can't mess with my original Muppet Babies song.
Seriously.
But I'm watching the show, and there's this episode where they all go to an art museum together, and Fozzie, like, they start to lose something, and so they decide to go, well, let's explore the museum. And it cuts to an absolutely spot-on tribute to the museum scene from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like, they do shot for shot where they're standing from the paintings. They do have their arms crossed in a row. They do the whole walking
with the
across
kids. They walk with all, yeah. Oh.
They do the exact same thing. And I was literally watching it, and I was like filming it on my phone, and my kids were like, why are you recording Muppet Babies? And I go, because it's from...
Because this is brilliant.
Yeah, and so I brought up the Ferris Bueller scene on YouTube, and I showed them, and my oldest was like, whoa, that's crazy that they did the exact same scene. So anyway, I thought it was funny.
That's great.
All right, so there was this thing that I saw while researching this indoor farming.
Okay.
And this was a thing that was on Indiegogo, and I think it was literally within like a year. I think they haven't even hit the mark. Yeah, very recent. But this designer... This is so clever, and I'll find a way to upload, but it's called Roto Farm. And I'm going to show an image best I can on the screen here. See if you can see it like that, okay? Mm-hmm. See that right there? So for you
Smart
listeners,
it
is, smart indoor gardening, and it's in this spherical kind of shape that sits almost like... It almost looks like if you were to take, remember those like 1960s hair salons where the women had the dryer that went like over their head? It looks like one of those like tilted back like a wheel. And this guy developed a concept that was, oh my gosh, I think my coffee maker is doing like a cleaning sound. So sorry for you audience for that little gurgle. Are you hearing a percolate? Percolating
That's
noise?
Awesome. No, I missed it, but I'm on the other side of the Zoom.
Sorry.
That's awesome.
I just heard it go. Yeah, exactly. So this is a beautiful NASA-inspired indoor garden. This thing rotates slowly with the garden on the inside because it incorporated principles from NASA so that every plant inside of it never experiences gravity in the same way that it does on our Earth, so they can grow faster. And so this guy created this wheel, and he funded the Roto Farm in 8 minutes. He was asking for like $10,000. It's now at $278,000. And these things, it looks like they only cost like $250 or something like that. So that's what I was excited to talk about, which was this innovative idea of taking that indoor farming, bringing it into your home. Because, sure, you can go buy, and we've bought them before, and they're very cool, those home herb gardens and things that you can have in your patio or in your kitchen where you can grow your own herbs and spices. But this thing was really exciting to me because I saw that engineering mind say, okay, how can I have plants grow? How can gardens grow like a freight farm? But for the everyday person where you have something like this in your kitchen and you're cultivating plants. And I thought that right there is why I wanted to do this subject, because I think this thing is so cool. So I will make sure to throw up on our Facebook group.
Painless Green.
Painless Green. I'm going to show a link to it and show images of it because it's awesome. And anyway, so in that...
Jacob, I think I was the percolator.
You were the percolator?
I think so, because I've had this thing happen in my chest, and I turned to the side and made a little burp, and it sounded like I was percolating coffee.
Oh, no.
I think that it's this part of my cold.
I think that you're percolating and my coffee were speaking to each other.
I think they were like, you'll know when you look at the sound.
When I see it
when
later.
you look at sound waves later on, you can look, and then we'll tell the audience next week.
We'll be able to tell this audience. So here's an image.
That's tiny.
Yeah, it's not that big. It really isn't that big, and it looks. I mean, it definitely looks like it's straight out of Gattaca. Like it looks like it's straight out of like a science fiction movie.
That's
but
so cool.
I just thought, we are living indoors. That's kind of the new normal as of right now, and of course we're going to return outside, but I think it's exciting right now to see what great minds are out there that can continually go, all right, if I'm inside, what are some other creative things that I can do to help feed my family, to take care of the needs in my home, projects, ideas, and the Roto Farm for me was like, man, I want to get one. I really, really do. And if I do, I'll do like a full-on YouTube review of it or something. So,
awesome.
but I don't think they're available until this fall because, I mean, the guy, he did the campaign not too long ago. But
right, and now he's probably in isolation.
Yeah, now he's in isolation, so he's like, I want to build a rotor farm, but I can't go outside and get
I've ordered for over 700 rotor farms. I can't deliver any of them.
I cannot package these rotor farms.
How is a person supposed to package of these when he has no ability to get to the outside world?
I don't
or get
know
any
if
supplies.
I don't know
crazy.
if he is German at all, but it sure seemed like the right.
Anybody who engineers anything is immediately in this show a German.
Perfect. I love that. Well, I mean, that was it. That was the indoor farming, baby. That was the
terrific.
idea. The freight farm to the fresh shelf that we saw at and so a lot of our audience has probably seen those before. If you go to places like Tender Greens or Veggie Grill, a lot of them have contracts with that company so that they can grow them right there on site.
Nice.
So
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Hey, that reminds me. How's the new? There's a new project that's being worked on over at Biofriendly Planet right now. The new whole section of the site, and I'm wondering, are we going to get any news from that soon, or how are we looking on that?
Yes, we are definitely working on that soon. What we're looking to do is right now, and this will be you heard it here first.
Yeah.
We believe that in the spirit of this episode of the home gardening, we believe that right now there couldn't be a better time than to be sharing DIY tips to people. Yeah. And so we are going to start doing a column on the site that's going to basically have DIY, whether it's from DIY hand sanitizers, DIY ways to keep your food more fresh, little tips at home to help teach you little things that you can do and learn with some hands-on experience that you'll be able to check our site for. So it'll be called
that are both bio-friendly and you can do it yourself.
Yeah, so it's the Biofriendly DIY. It'll be a new section on the page. And and so we'll probably highlight that on the panel screen and share those articles. And I think what would be fun is if on some of them, Noel, if you and I did them.
Oh, I'm in.
So I think what we should do is we start recording, right? And we say, and whatever the subject is, we say, okay, this week's DIY project is da-da-da-da. We share what it is. Then we stop. Okay. And then we return and say, I just went and did it, and it was a disaster, or whatever it is.
That's
like,
great.
Come back and give the full report of like how the whole thing went down, and what did you learn? What was the mistakes you made, or did it go perfectly and you can't get anything wrong because you're brilliant? That's possible too. I mean,
that's how we'll do it.
Yeah, that's how we'll do it.
Because we never do anything. We're amazing.
Yeah, we're amazing.
We're the best. We're the best.
Yeah.
As far as you know.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that, and that'll be coming, I'm hoping, by next week. So
I'm very excited. I'm very excited about Biofriendly DIY. The moment that you and Tara mentioned it, I was like, this is gonna be rad.
This is gonna be great. Yep.
Nice.
Well, thanks for.
Is it time? Do we sign off?
It's time.
Okay.
We've been your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Not just charismatic megafauna.
Yep, and a greater parasympathetic nerve activity.
Yeah, although I was thinking if we add just like I love it, but I was thinking that like if we add a featuring, because greater parasympathetic nerve activity is a thing, right?
Featuring greater sympathetic nerve activity. Featuring, that.
Yeah. And then nature is perfect. Just look at eggs.
Mm-hmm. Dolphins don't quit.
Oh, and then today's was
French. It was French.
Oh, it's French for it's ambiance for the audience.
That's it. That's the one. You did
Amazing.
it. That's it. All right, buddy.
Clayton Cogswell is calling me in the middle of the podcast, and I did not silence my phone.
Well, give him a call back. I'm sure he wants to hear from you. Call him right now.
All right.
Hey, everybody.
Have a good one, Jakey. It's great to see your face.
Have a good one, Noel. Keep feeling better. Keep recovering. Good to see yours as well. And we'll talk to you next week.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Bye, pal.
Bye-bye.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.